3, 2, 1, go.
Hey,
fancy seeing you guys here. Welcome back to the Patent Pending podcast. Today is episode 21 with Gaby.
Hey,
you missed them.
I did. It's a podcast for creatives by creatives. They get it. They've been here before. All right. Keeping it loosey-goosey today.
Mike just freaking home run that whole intro.
Sweet.
we're keeping it.
So, Gaby, may I ask, how do I pronounce your last name?
Duong.
Duong. Awesome. So today we have Gaby Duong on, and thank you for being here with us.
Thanks for having me.
Sean and I have talked about having you on for a while since we started, and we're very excited to have you.
Yay!
So thank you for taking the time out today for joining us. And what do you do, Gaby?
I am a professional photographer and social media expert. I do a lot of, here it goes. The first, and I really think we should add a counter as a group effort to see how many ums and ahs.
Okay, so then at some point we'll do a counter, but then there's so what's the is there like shots? There's some sort of thing where we have to do shots at the end of it, right? Where Gaby says 21 ums, that's 21 shots that we have to take or something.
The first shot will be already out for the count.
Yeah, I don't know. We can 21 minutes of sleep. I don't know.
Anyway, yes, we're gonna do a running counter of how many times Gaby says
So,
Okay.
I know you from your commercial work. It's very beautiful, but you said you also are a social media expert. So do you do like social media, what's the word for that? Like social media plans, like monthly plans for
social media
clients?
strategy,
That's the
and
word.
it's really transitioned also to content planning because I want to be more on the creative side with social media first in mind when it comes to these brands and companies, as social media has really progressed over the years.
For sure.
And I have been working in social media for 17 years.
Oh, wow.
I started at MySpace working with incredible people in social media and Tom.
Yeah.
So
like the OG Tom?
Yeah. And so that really ages me. And it's always like a fun story because now with Facebook, Instagram, TikTok too, has just really taken over. And I remember for the longest time, they said social media is never going to stick around. And here we are. It is really big part of our lives.
I can't see social media ever disappearing.
I don't know where they got that from, but
well, MySpace is a different beast. It's funny.
Yeah.
Tom's a photographer now as well, right?
He
From MySpace?
is, yes, a travel photographer. And he has a house here. I haven't spoken with him, but a fun story is I guess he saw a review I did on Yelp and he sent me a message. He goes, "Do you live in Vegas now?" And we're Facebook friends.
Oh, that's awesome.
So I'm like, "Hey, yeah, I do live in Vegas." And that was like kind of it.
Oh, it
the
didn't go
interaction. And I'm like, "Oh, hey Tom, like what's up? Like how are you doing?" And check out his Instagram and travel photography. It looks really amazing. So if no one has seen it, definitely take a peek.
Yeah, he messaged a friend of mine, another local photographer here in town, about something. But yeah, I was like, oh, like Tom?
like MySpace Tom?
Yeah.
And they were like,
Everyone's friend?
That's exactly who it is. I was like, wild.
That sucks because
How
Oh,
he'll never like that'll always be like his like
Tom from MySpace?
childhood star actor type of thing where like that's always gonna be. It's like, oh, you mean Tom from MySpace? And you're like, yeah, dude, I'm in my
Everybody's
fucking
first friend.
50s now. Like I'm not Tom
I was
from
gonna say,
MySpace
is he
anymore.
in his 50s now?
I
don't think he's that
know.
old. He's probably like a good 10 years older than me. So he's probably like at least 40,
40s.
I would say.
Okay, I have a question for you. Would you be upset if someone did really admire your work and recognize you for a certain something and just constantly bring it up?
I don't know if I'd be upset, but I think it would definitely get old
Okay.
after a while. Like in that case where it's like that one thing that like people like society gravitates to. Like it's like they'd be like, oh, Tom from MySpace. And you're like, dude, that was like a lifetime ago. Like I'm not
like
Tom from
Superbad.
MySpace anymore. Yeah.
It's like, at least I didn't pee my pants. Like, dude, that was like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't get upset. I think actually you got to kind of flaunt it and own it. And unfortunately, you're going to be Tom from MySpace for the rest of your life. So might as well make the
You have
best
no
of
way
it and
around
own
it.
it. Yeah. I would love to see a picture of him though and see what he looks like now.
Because all we have is that one picture
Exactly.
burned in our brain.
Embedded in my brain.
Oh, well, I guess we're going to have to Google that or look it up.
I'm
I'll
sure it's
check his
pretty easy to
Facebook
find.
and then we're going to put it right here.
Did you grow up in Las Vegas?
I didn't. I'm from Orange County in a small, it's not even a small town, but it's in between Huntington Beach and Westminster called Midway City. And I've been in Las Vegas for almost 13 years now.
I'm so sorry. That's
damn.
supposed to be on D&D.
Oh, should I do
Actually,
that
I
too?
should do that too. Yeah.
We're all going to do that real quick. Beautiful.
We're goddamn professionals here.
So you moved here, you said 13?
Yeah, about 13 years ago. And it has a lot to do with my background working in entertainment in LA and wanting to transition in hospitality. But all while that transition happening, meeting someone out here, which made that like real push of like, what do I want when I get to like my 40s and 50s being a creative? Am I going to have gray hair and tattoos and still be in the pit in the music industry, or what's more to that? I'm always curious with different type of photographies and finding where my strengths are. And portrait photography, food photography, any type of branding, I absolutely love. So coming out here when I was like, hey, I want to get into travel, food type, and entertainment is huge out here as well. So I'm not like kind of giving up where I need to be in LA to make this happen. Let's go.
There's other options out there.
Yeah. Be in a new city.
Yeah. And there's no state tax here, which is probably another awesome thing.
Which I had no idea about, like coming out.
That wasn't part of her movie.
Yeah. Like a lot of people now, especially content creators coming to Las Vegas, they go, well, because there's no income tax, or my friends even buying homes and coming out here, they're like, dude, California is killing me. Right. I go, well, even before that, I was telling you to move out here. So.
Right. That's funny. I grew up in Corona, and I've never heard of wherever you're from. Midway? Mm-hmm. Oh. I would have just said like Orange County or the beach.
I feel like it's 2 streets.
Oh, really?
Okay. Well, that makes sense. Yeah, because I literally,
where I am.
Yeah, I lived in Corona for 25 years and I've never heard of it.
Oh, yeah.
But that also makes sense to California because there's so many neighborhoods and like cities. Like I was telling my wife, because she's born and raised here, and we'd be driving through like Ontario. And it's like, oh, yeah, we just passed like 3 different cities. She's like, we want one exit on the freeway. And I'm like, yeah, that's just how Southern California is. Like,
right. Because Vegas goes, look, Henderson, I always say is like the Irvine of Southern California.
Okay.
No, you don't think so?
Well, I'm not super familiar, but I have been to Irvine, so.
I've never heard it put that. I can't.
It gives me Irvine vibes.
Okay.
But
well, I guess like the places I did go in Irvine did kind of remind me of like the district in.
That's really what
I
it
can
is.
see
Is that
that.
what you're thinking about?
Yeah.
I can see that.
And suburbs. It's
Yeah.
really,
What about the Grove? Is that in LA?
Beverly Hills.
Oh, okay.
The Grove, yes.
The Grove, not the theater, but
There's like an outdoor mall with a theater, and there's like all like really.
I think the Grove is Orange County.
Oh.
I think it's literally called the Grove for Orange County.
Okay. Yeah, but that reminds me of like the district or like downtown Summerlin.
Yeah.
Those types of.
Are you talking about the one with the farmers market?
I don't know.
I think he's talking about Orange County.
Because there is an Anaheim Grove theater. A lot of bands.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it is.
Okay.
Well,
feel free to leave in the comments if we're completely wrong. I have been out of Orange County almost 13 years, so.
I'm just going to say 2 residents who grew up there just failed that pop quiz.
Yeah, I don't know anything about California, obviously.
It's okay.
What were some of the things that you really loved when you moved here?
All the shows that were here, very different from being in LA and Orange County. I used to go to about 20 to 21 like indie shows, mainstream bands like every month.
Dang.
And it had a lot to do with, yes, working in the industry, wanting to shoot bands and their shows, networking. That was that's the vibe I feel when you're in LA. You're constantly meeting people, networking, trying to get your work out there, show your work. Coming out here was, I don't know, very different. Everyone was in the nightlife scene. And I guess my partner at the time was also working in nightlife. I think I'm straying out of the topic too.
No, you're good. You're good. No, so then the first area or facet, as Mike likes to say, you start out would be music?
Yes, music.
Okay.
Wait, we got to cut it right here because the question was.
I was just asking what you enjoed about Vegas when you first.
Oh, what I enjoyed about
here.
Vegas.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. I can bring it back. I can bring it back. This is my ADD coming in.
It's all good.
She's
This
OCD
is
and ADD.
Yeah.
Okay.
Usually Sean and I are a little more spazzy, but we just had a meal. So it's,
yeah. So we're
I haven't had mine, but I had coffee.
Yeah, we had a bunch of
so we're
coffee
kicking it
already.
to you. You could be the ADD on this one.
Yeah.
No, what I enjoyed most about coming to Vegas, yes. So it's the shows. That's where I came in. But you probably liked what I said about back in LA and going to all those shows to transition. Okay, so I'll start from there. Go ahead, ask the question.
Yeah, so your first facet, you started in music photography in LA, and then you moved out here and you continued that. When did you like make the transition from like music into commercial work? Or did you
no, the
always-
question was, what do you like about moving to Vegas, right?
Oh yeah.
There is nothing she likes about moving
I
to
was
Vegas.
just
Okay,
I was
that's
just
fine.
gonna keep it rolling.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, it's all good.
See, first time on camera.
No, because you
That's what
basically
you're dealing with.
you basically
Somebody powder my nose.
you
Sweating.
Make
Sweating. I'm literally sweating.
no you
Oh my God.
you basically answered the question. You said you love the shows and
okay.
you like the contrast of the shows here compared to LA, and it was a little more chill, but the shows were better here than in Southern California.
And the food.
And the food.
Yes. Didn't get to that point.
Okay. What
Yeah.
are some of the food that you really love here?
I love hot pot. Japanese hot
So
pot
does my
is my
girlfriend.
favorite. And what is it? Every time I bring a friend to hot pot, they're like, so you like cooking your own food? I'm like, not true. Because I don't.
Yeah, that's such
outside of that, you don't.
Right. Same thing with Korean barbecue. I think it's a great interactive experience.
Well,
Yeah.
it's
It's
all
immersive
camaraderie. It's
experience.
being a team. You're there together. Like,
Yeah.
hey, I got this. Oh, this is ready. Why don't you have some of this?
Yeah.
Right.
So
Yeah.
It's more
Yeah.
intimate.
What's a good spot? Because my wife likes Korean barbecue more than I do. I guess I've never been to a really good spot, so I don't crave it. And then second, I don't think I've ever had hot pot.
Hot pot's delish.
I don't think I have because nothing's coming to mind.
I bet
so-
you can give him a better description of hot pot than me. Why don't you give him the lay of the land?
Yeah, because if you have some good recs, I need to.
Yeah, so there's different types of hot pot. My favorite is Japanese. They have shabu, sukiyaki, and they'll bring a pot of hot broth. It could be miso or just hot seaweed water. Sukiyaki has a little bit more teriyaki. Then you get a tray of your protein of choice
Okay.
and a tray of mixed vegetables. And you just, everything cooks in a few seconds, depending how you like your meat, always medium rare.
Yeah.
Anything more, you're psychotic and a terrible person. Don't edit
Completely
that out.
agree.
You're a horrible human.
And my favorite spot is Chanko, which is off of Spring Mountain. And a lot of great hot pot places are on Spring Mountain.
Right.
Let's see, there's Na Bay, and they also have all you can eat sushi. Chubby Cattle is my favorite. That's Mongolian
Yeah,
hot pot.
Crystal
and
and I
they
have
have
gone there.
yeah, conveyor belt. They make their noodles there. All
Dang,
that-
okay.
Yeah, it's one experience. But with Chanko on the weekends around 8 p.m., a guy comes out and plays the taiko drums.
Oh shit.
Some people hate it. I absolutely love it.
It's a mixed review.
I'm
Yeah.
trying to eat. And he's like, and I'm like, hell yeah, man. I'm like always hyping him up on the side.
You're the one person that's like, yes, it's 8 o'clock.
I was like, here he comes. Yeah, it can be loud, but
Yeah.
be cultured, people.
Yeah. Crystal and I used to go to, it was Joe Coy's spot in Village Square. I can't remember the name of it. Start with an S. I don't think it's there anymore, unfortunately.
Joey Coy had a spot.
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
gonna
he
say
had a
the
hot-
comedian.
Yeah, Joe
oh,
Coy,
really?
he had a hot pot spot in Village Square.
What year was this?
This is pre-pandemic, I think. It was the last
Oh,
time we
okay.
went. Yeah,
Oh.
I think it may have closed after the pandemic, but it was delicious.
Village Square, is that in Summerlin?
Yeah,
Or-
so it's on Sahara and Fort Apache. There's a movie theater
You
there.
talking about Yoji's?
Yoji.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
that place is so good.
Is
I
it
don't
still
talk
the-
about it anymore because RIP.
Yeah, it's not there, right?
Okay, so yeah, you're correct.
That was the best place.
Yeah,
Yes.
For sure. Yeah. See, I'm glad we agree on that.
Yes.
You're not crazy. You're
Little
not
bit.
crazy. Oh,
Damn,
you were
it was a
right.
Joy Coy spot. Okay.
Yeah, I guess he owned it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So I know you do a ton of commercial work. Do you have a studio?
I have a home studio that I remodeled during the pandemic, really took the time to make it a comfortable space for models or even brands that don't necessarily have a budget to rent a studio.
Rent a studio.
And I think I have rented studios, but I've created this 2-car garage. We can show the photo right here.
There we go.
New drywall, insulation, epoxy the floor.
Oh, cool.
Added a mini split unit, AC heater. I did a burlesque shoot in there during the pandemic before I had that unit, and she was almost butt naked, freezing her butt off, and I felt so bad. And we even stopped and I went to Target to buy like three different space heaters to be around her because I want her to be comfortable. That was a game changer.
Well, then your skin starts to act different too when you're cold. I just did a shoot last week. Yeah.
You mentioned, what'd you call it? What was
it's called goose skin?
Goose skin was the term that
you pluck the feathers out of a goose or a duck.
Yes.
You get.
When you're plucking your.
You've never seen a raw chicken? All right.
Yeah, I mean, when I do that on Tuesdays, it's like, that's what it is. No, that's interesting because now there's a professional.
There's a phrase for it. Yeah.
For goose skin.
Goose skin or chicken skin or
I've never plucked, but I understand the visual comes to mind.
So you epoxy the floor, you insulated the garage doors, I'm assuming.
Yes, you learn so much thinking that the studio's done, and then you learn, in the dead heat of summer of Las Vegas, the garage gets up to 130 degrees.
Yep.
So learning how to insulate, how to make the temperature drop, even with like a 2-ton unit trying to go off, it's still 100 degrees. So figuring out layers, because I didn't even know that the roof is literally in a garage is just wood.
Dead space. Yep. Yeah.
It's literally just wood. Yeah.
And I have it's vaulted because I took off
I was
this
gonna say,
weird
that was my next
drywall.
question.
Yeah.
How high are the ceilings and everything?
It feels good when you're in there because it's spacious when they're vaulted. And we have like a black cover paint. It was like a total group effort in the studio. There was 6 people working on it.
That's awesome.
Nice.
Trying to figure it out, and how black makes it disappear too while it's feeling spacious. A lighter floor makes it a bit brighter, but making sure it's not reflective.
Photos. That's awesome.
Yeah, and definitely share that. And then kind of want to switch out little things, but I love having the roll holders versus having just 20 different colored seamless rolls. Kind of
so do you have the ones that are staggered that run horizontal?
Yeah, you have the 3-tier system.
Oh, you're talking about to roll down.
Yeah.
Yes, I have the 3-tier one, but the holders just to keep it organized. Nice. Yeah.
Up and down. What is it? Vertical?
Yeah.
What's the term? Jesus.
Well,
vertical holders.
Savage makes the holders and their
I did
Instagram
get
page.
that
They
one.
have
So that's helped
really
out a lot.
because nobody else does. That's a business opportunity. I would like to.
Yeah, I made a box in my, because for a brief period of time I was shooting in my garage. I did a very half-assed studio. So I just had all my rolls when I wasn't using them. I made this just a box and then shoved them all in there. But
yeah, they sell ones with on
half-assed.
wheels too. It's almost like a wired cage that
cool.
you can throw in, which I want for my diffusers. Definitely collecting a bunch of different shapes and sizes now.
Yeah, I have mine all on a shelf, and then there's shit falling off the shelf, and constantly reorganizing the shelf. And
how do you label? Do you have a labeling system? Because right now I'm just I think this is the square one.
So I do keep them in the sheath, the bag.
the bags, yeah.
So I know which ones are which.
Which is very handy because when I was helping you last week, all of his diffuser bags tell you what's what.
Yeah.
So for me not knowing what he has, I'm strip box 20. Oh, cool.
And it says the size on it too.
And
Yeah, Godox. It has them all labeled. Which is
nice.
Super
Okay.
nice.
Yeah. And then, so I have that. But then I have my own methods, my madness in my garage with my stuff. But I can rummage through it pretty quickly and find what I need.
Yeah, it's really just the diffusers for me because mine doesn't have a label on it at all. But they start becoming, the bags are almost all the same size, but the diffuser doesn't necessarily.
It doesn't accord. What's the word?
And it's all different type of brands. I'm using a light kit right after college, and I have been I've worked. Yeah, I think this is one of the things we want to talk about too. Is a 9-to-5 photo job.
Yeah,
and working with different equipment. That's an I've worked at Zappos as a photographer, corporate photographer, and social media. I've worked, let's see.
Did you work there around the time that Anthony used to work there around the time that Anthony used to shoot? Anthony Archer Polly. I'm probably butchering his last name.
We had a photo studio for like what goes on the website, and then like branding editorial, and then there's like the social team creating social content.
Oh, okay. Because I know he was their photographer for Zappos from like, I could be wrong, but from what I remember, he doesn't live here anymore. He was back in New York, but he was there from like 2011-ish.
I'm 2015 to 18.
Oh, so you're way more recent than he was.
Yeah.
So you replaced him?
A lot of changes.
There's a good chance you replaced him.
I didn't get to, I do know that name.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great place to work at.
Yeah.
Really miss it.
It's probably a little different
have to kind of do something different. I mean, especially now there has been a lot of changes, and they always say when a company buys out another company, you're going to see those slowly trickle down corporate world. I don't mind the corporate world. It's different. I think my gripe about it is approvals. How long
chain
it
of
takes.
command.
The chain, yeah.
Yeah.
And when Tony was around, what was great about him being very involved and yet hands off at the same time is like, do you think it looks good? Yeah, I feel good about it. Put it up, And
That's awesome.
Interesting.
Yeah, giving that power to, I mean, when you get hired, all you want to do is help the company, right? You're like, I'm excited to work here. These are my skill sets and I want to make things happen. That's when you know you're in a good spot.
Yeah, you want to make cool shit, pull your own weight.
Yeah, versus like micromanaging the creative process, which I think getting better now working with kind of clients versus in an office environment.
Clients versus like an employer type of?
Like an employer.
Okay.
Yeah, going through the creative director or if you're not the creative director, right? And being more hands-on, or creative manager now needs to go to the VP of marketing, but let's see what the CEO thinks about this one. Or we really wish that the person would have worn a necklace for this. And then it trickles down like, we got to do a reshoot. This was missing. And what I still love about it is I still get to do what I love, but the process can be upsetting sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you find that wearing all those different hats yourself is a much better fit now? Do you think that you've learned things from Zappos and you've grown into your own now, and now you could do all of these things on your own and be the creative director and be the VP of marketing and be that one-stop shop?
I think it's not just having the one job doing what I do and then breaking off on my own. It's been like 17 years of work. So going back to when I used to go to shows like 20 times a month, like for 3 years.
That's almost every day.
And shooting for free.
Yeah.
I was very young.
Shit.
I was very young. I'm not saying I'm shooting like 21 times a month for free, but I got a camera. My dad just got it for me.
How old were you when you got
like
your first
17.
camera? Oh, cool. I
Right?
was 16.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And I already knew I was actually a videographer to start.
Oh, cool.
You start out wanting to do video?
Yeah, I did skate videos, and I also worked with Hurley for a bit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, sick.
Yeah. So skater girl, local like indie rock kid
Right.
type of vibe, and trying to break into that. But yeah, working for free, and people don't realize that. But also when you're young and you're trying to be like, I'm a woman. Here's like a good topic: a woman trying to break into an industry that's male dominated. Because my peers, for the longest time, I was the only girl in the pit.
I mean, there's still not a ton of girls.
Yeah,
in the
there's
pit.
it's still the numbers are like
I think it's far better now, but still, it's still male dominated for sure.
right.
Yeah. And not being like nervous to be like, can I stand here?
Right.
And like,
can I shoot two
can
guys?
I shoot two? And very aggressive with, I think it was the band MXPX.
Okay.
Yeah. And also Sparta, where people are mosh pitting, you don't have a barricade, people elbowing, and broke off my lens.
Oh,
Off
so
the
there's no
camera.
We're talking
pit.
we're talking like a small venue then.
Yeah.
Right.
Transitioning to that and getting paid has has always been, I don't know. So the experience, I got to say, you got to put in the work. I think too many times when people meet me, they go, "You're so lucky you get to do what you love."
Oh,
I'm like,
it wasn't luck. Yeah.
I have done everything. I've had people talk down to me. I've had people talk shit about my work, which is fine. Critique all you want. At the same time, I'm trying to create an art that I love and that I'm proud of. And hopefully one day people will hire me to see my creative vision, or I can bring someone's creative vision to life to get the results that they want. That took 17 years to get to a point where I can be like, I think someone else was like, you're like a creative director because now you're like leading this. You're like putting out the ideas and concept. I'm like, oh yeah, I am. It's like, how long did that take to get here where I feel confident in what I'm doing? And I can walk in and have input where people really respect this because of like that background of 3 years working for free. Nobody knew. People thought I was like always hustling and getting paid. Like I remember being paid $75 a shoot at a restaurant.
Damn.
That has changed.
You guys can book. You heard it here first. You can book Gaby for $75 a shoot.
I heard this one thing where she said $75. She'll come to a food shoot. Is that what I heard?
Yeah. But there's growth along the way, and you start learning a lot of things. Like, wow, I didn't realize I need this type of equipment, or what a game changer it is, because I didn't grow up with a lot of money or whatever I want, and I can get whatever I want. So I do feel proud of being in a place where I'm like, I need a new 2470 because this shit is
dude. It's great. It's like, we're adults. We're working professionals. Do you have any kids?
I don't have kids.
Yeah, neither do us. So I'm like, I can get whatever I want whenever I need it or want it. You know, it's real nice to like be at a comfortable space to be able to do that. And I'm so proud of myself.
Yeah.
And I'm proud of you guys for doing this.
Proud of not having kids.
Yeah, it's mostly the kids.
Mostly the proud that we don't have kids.
Yes, choosing a creative field is a difficult one. I'm not saying it's easy, especially I think for you changed careers, right?
Yeah, I was an electrician for
along the way. So it's like this curiosity of like, that you can make a really great living and having a great time. That's creative for me, and that's what I've worked on forever. Yeah. I feel like a couple decades.
Well, I wanted to ask, what are you all in on? Like, so you picked up a camera, you've been shooting for, you said 17 years. Mm-hmm. So then when did you make the full transition from, shooting? I'm sure, obviously you weren't a full-time freelancer at 17. So when were you able to like finally make the jump and be, a full-time photographer? And like you did have the opportunity to leave your day job if you ever had a day job.
Oh, right. So even with my day jobs, I have worked at Hurley, Warner Brothers, MGM Resorts, some pretty amazing and big companies. Mm-hmm. I've always had freelance on the side. Oh, awesome. And I come into a job actually saying that.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. Hey, like, I hope there's like, I think it's the non-compete that you're always kind of like worried about, like, oh, I'm not working with another competitor to create. But I want you to know, like, this exists in my life and that's going to happen. But I'm going to always make, work as a priority. This is my full-time job. Right. But this is happening on the side. So you don't have whatever industry it is. Everybody kind of knows each other. It's like, oh, well, Gaby's working on this project too. So you guys are doing something similar. Yeah. I never want that to happen. Open conversation.
Full transparency.
Full transparency is so important as a creative, which also leads to like where credit belongs. Like when you work for a company, it's not like this is created by Mike, like for our company. Yeah. As when you transition full time, freelance, contractor, create your own business, there is opportunity for that where you collaborate, and then even they can pay you more to be like, hey, we're going to completely own this, and this has like nothing to do with you, even though you created for us.
Yeah. Right.
Copyrights
and licensing.
Which I'm still learning about. Same. I think you gave me a phone call about a billboard.
Yeah.
We just talked about it. Trying to use copyrights, licensing, integrate that into invoicing and jobs and quotes now. Because, learning from other people and then learning online, like that's where the real money's made.
Yes.
Passive income as well is kind of like,
syndication, trying to understand that. I work with Getty Images as a freelance photo editor.
Oh, cool.
So I'm at a lot of the award shows that are here in town. Sometimes I travel to LA. And I met that team actually when I was a photographer at Coachella.
Okay.
And so they were just more of like, hey, like, are you interested in more of a photographer position or an editor? And once again, like evolving my experience, I said, hey, I actually don't want to be a photographer. I'm interested in the other side of an editor.
Okay.
To just expand on my skills and see how operations were being younger as well.
Yeah.
Right. I'm trying to establish myself as, yes, a professional commercial photographer in entertainment and in food and travel. But there's this whole other side that you learn how getting the actors, musician, artists in front of the camera, walking the red carpet, show how those photos are being ingested to a team, how it goes live, how you manage the client, how you get approvals.
Yeah.
It's a whole different side that I had no idea, because before, for there's certain jobs working with them, you're a photographer, you shoot, you give it to them, you're on your merry way.
Exactly.
But now I'm also on the other side where I'm like, there is so much teamwork that goes with that.
Yeah. Well, that was one of our questions that we wanted to ask you about, because I see that you do a ton of editing work.
Yeah.
So what is some of the like the contrasting differences between, like the editing work? Like what are some of the pros and cons? I know you mentioned that you used to do a lot of festivals and now you kind of enjoy editing the festivals opposed to shooting the festivals.
Yeah.
What are some of the pros and cons now with editing instead of shooting?
Right. With editing for commercial or entertainment for syndication, there's the creative side.
I'm sorry, can we explain syndication?
Yeah, I was just gonna
anybody doesn't
chime in on that one.
Oh no, I don't know the proper definition for syndication.
Well, just explain what it means when you're referring to it right now.
I guess when you take a photo of said celebrity, so it goes Matthew McConaughey goes onto a website and they sell it over and over again for publication, media.
Okay.
And that's how,
because I've heard it referred to TV shows becoming syndicated, like an old
broadcasting.
TV show.
So your royalties.
Okay.
I just called it Shutterstock.
Usage, I guess, kind of.
It is what they're paying for. So if they're doing a spread that's a full page, it's going to cost more than if you use the photo only a quarter page.
Like a thumbnail or something.
But then they get to keep selling. The company who owns the photo gets to keep selling it. And then you get, there are staff photographers, and then there's also contractors. So there's people that rely on those royalties, commissions on media publication, like buying these images.
That's like what I did for Shutterstock. Yeah.
You could be a contributor, or you could be you get paid in royalties, or you get paid by the job. It's like pick one.
Right. Which even for me, being on the other side, still learning about the photographers that I work with, they're like, well, I'm very specific in this category, or I'm working in this category. And I'm like, oh, okay. Cool. But like every job, I was like, okay, cool. What does it mean? I'm constantly learning. I have no ego and trying to learn what you need from me, because that's what I'm hired for this position. But another challenge with editing is by client, how they like it and what is allowed on the company that you work for. Some is very light: levels, color correction, cropping. And that's really it. And they expect you to only spend few seconds on each photo, because it's a market, how fast you can get it on market before another website. And working with Getty, we have such a killer team of editors. And sometimes you don't realize it's like 20 to 30 of us for the however many photographers, 10 photographers out there, because we're really trying to get it out there fast.
Yeah, it's whoever gets it online first.
Yeah, so that's killer. But festivals, they want more creativity.
Yeah.
So being a photographer, I was a photographer for Coachella for 6 years.
Oh, dang, nice.
Super fun. Got a lot of steps in. I think when Fitbit was still cool, maybe you're still cool. Maybe you want to sponsor the three of us. I don't know. there was like competition with my friends at home where getting 10,000 steps, that's sick. And I had like 75,000
right.
steps. And they're like, where are you?
Right. What are you doing? Did you
I'm lost
tie
in
it
the
to a
mountains.
car?
Because sometimes you can't get to a golf cart to get where you need. And then you're just like running across whatever your shot list is. So that's super fun. And now being on the editor side and having the brands kind of, this is what the mood we want for this year. You get to do a more creative edit.
Yeah.
You can darken, lighten, change the colors, make it a little bit foggy. I see a lot of live photography now changing into, instead of kind of like, here's a clear shot of the singer like rocking out on the mic. And it's like, well, now it's like a very obstruct angle.
Right.
Instead of like
singer.
the clean shots, it's a little more
Yeah, it has really
artsy.
changed. Yeah, much more artsy angle and vibe and feel. There's, prisms.
Prisms,
are really
mist
popular.
filters. Yeah, it's interesting. Just to interject a little bit, it's interesting because that was like, or I guess it still is creative in that sense of like the evolution of like shooting festivals, because most of the time shooting from the pit, most of the photos are going to look the same because you have one vantage point right from the pit. But what's interesting is now that everyone's shooting these similar styles, now for me, everyone is shooting the same exact thing because everyone's doing a prism, they're doing a mist filter. And so it's kind of like, all right, well, first we were unique, but now everyone's shooting exactly the same thing. It's not unique anymore.
Sure.
I don't know where I was going with that, but
I agree with that. And now that's why there's a lot of relying on video and like animation, or I feel like for the Emo Punk Festival when we were young, the content is really cool. Shout out to, I believe his handle is Transition Ninja.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, really cool stuff that I hadn't seen before that festivals or shows that are doing, and kind of like taking it to the next level too.
For sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. After Effects and the blenders and like the animations and all that stuff.
Or using photography into video and cutting it out.
Right.
I think I've seen you do some of that.
I'm trying to because I like the idea of like mixed media and just, again, trying to pull from multiple inspirations to create something versus just photo or just video or just animation or what have you. So,
yeah. But even as photographers, I know you guys do a lot more video than like me, and that's a resolution for this year to kind of get back into it.
I do like not a lot of video. I do like maybe like 5 or 10% of video.
But there's this pressure of the industry moving to, the photographer clearly does video as well, or video person clearly doing photography.
Right.
It is similar craft in the industry, but the professions are still separated.
Totally.
In my, like how, I mean, we work in it, so we know, we're like, we're going to do.
Well, this is something that comes up with us pretty frequently is like, if you want like good photo and video, like 9 out of 10 times, like you're going to have to get 2 people, or like you can hybrid shoot, but I feel like one always slacks.
Yeah. Cause I hybrid shoot all the time. And I tell myself every time, stop doing it. Certain things is what it is. It calls for it. But yes, like to get somebody focusing solely on photo and then someone else focusing solely on video, you can get 100% in each versus a little bit here, a little bit there. And like, maybe it's decent, but like, it's not going to be
absolutely.
super sexy.
I've had gigs where they hire me as a photographer and I show up and they're like, we're looking for some BTS of like the video stuff. And then you could crop and edit into reel, right? And then can you like do some stuff like off your phone that's like organic for IG stories too? And
I did not sign up for this.
I was like, okay, well, I charge an extra this and this.
Mm-hmm.
And usually I would hit up a friend and be like, hey, can you do video while I'm on this gig?
Right.
But yeah, then I get stuck in this situation where now I'm hooked up to 2 cameras and my phone on my chest. Like,
Oh shit.
like
Titty cam.
Like GoPro.
Like,
GoPro.
like this. And then I'm just like, this is this. And then I have to be ready and let it drop off the harness. And I'm like, but then people, when you're in the pit too, especially for shows, then you have the people who are in front of the barricade. Like,
what is
she doing when she has
I know.
They want organic content.
I've had someone ask me before. I don't remember what it was. I literally pulled out my phone for something. I don't even think I was recording, but I just had my phone out. And I remember someone in the crowd tapping me and I turn around and they're like, I don't get it. you have all this equipment on you and you're filming on your phone. And I was like,
mind your own business.
it's a it's a BTS, bro. Chill. Like, I'm not filming on this, but yeah, same thing.
And here's a social media tip. I know.
Enjoy the fucking show.
Like, don't fucking worry about me, dude. I got 12 minutes left. Leave me alone.
It's like, I only got 3 songs, bro. Like,
I'll be gone soon.
Yeah. Have fun in GA, bitch.
But so a new social media tip, the Instagram CEO now saying we focus too much on Reels because they were competing with TikTok.
Right.
Now they're going back to images.
So they say.
Yeah.
So they say, we'll see. The numbers are still funky and weird from what it used to be. But being a new year, people are asking for new like RFPs.
Can I ask what RFP is?
Request for proposal. When I have
okay.
brands, companies hit me up, they're like, hey, we want to hire your agency to handle all of our content for social media.
Okay.
So that could be graphic design, photography, video, animation.
So request for proposal is like they want a quote from you, so
An
they
estimated
can
quote.
propose it to their team. Is that kind of
For their company,
Okay,
and
cool.
then our agency would come like every month. So it's a retainer basis, which
And
is
is
kind of
that
different
Neon?
from like per gig. Yes.
is that Neon Mob?
Yes.
Which is your agency.
Yes. When I
Go
left,
follow them.
thank you. When I left my corporate job, there was a lot of like family stuff. My 2 senior dogs have cancer. I was like really going through it. And even though I did a lot of freelance, I said, is this a good time to be like, hey, let's go all in and invest in myself?
For you.
Yes.
Okay.
And that was 2019. And then the pandemic hit. And then I freaked out and I said, this was the worst decision of my life. I'd rather have been laid off. Like, but it kind of worked out because
Yeah, you're like, I would rather have been laid off because I can get unemployment for the pandemic.
I was like, what? I was like,
Like all my friends are just hanging out drinking and getting paid, and I'm fucking stressing over here.
Fuck, dude. I don't want to talk about that.
I was like, this is the worst decision of my life. But then, surprisingly for Vegas, we opened up much earlier.
Pretty quickly.
Dude, we
yeah.
opened up, in like June of
2020.
Exactly.
Oh yeah, did we?
We talked about it before, but yeah, I remember like July, like
Oh, it was
summer of
actually May.
2020. Yeah.
Yeah, it
I
was
remember
like-
shooting on the strip and I was like, oh, fuck.
Yeah. It was and so hard with a mask and moving around so much, huffing and puffing. But when the pandemic hit, there was that moment when all the clients were like, we are not going to be using your
Right.
services anymore. And all of a sudden you're like, investing in myself is the worst decision. What the hell? And a few months later, when everything opened, now everybody had lost their jobs. For some reason, the agency I started thrived because now they're looking for, we literally don't have an in-house person. We need someone to cover this tomorrow.
Or
Are you
rebranding
available?
for this and that?
Yeah,
Right.
and a lot of rebranding or changing the business model. And I had a bunch of friends that are creatives and we're all like, what are we doing with their lives? Creative was the worst decision. Working in entertainment is not an essential.
Yeah.
And so when I would get any type of gig, I would just be like, do you need video? Do you need graphic design? Do you need all this stuff too? Because I have a group of talented people. That's
awesome.
really how the Neon Mob became versus like an
it was more of a
independent
necessity, trying to look out for your homies.
Yeah,
Right.
Gabby,
That's
the
awesome. Spread it
photographer.
around.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And now it's been almost 4 years and we've worked with everyone across the strip from hospitality, cannabis, entertainment, and kicking strong until further notice.
So
Nice.
further notice, forever. You're gonna keep going.
That's the goal. That's the goal.
Yeah. You're gonna keep kicking until you can kick no more.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw, I think where I first was introduced to you and your work was, you were doing some work with Dalton Campbell, and I saw he tagged you, and I was like, oh shit, cool. And yeah, I think that's how I first saw your stuff.
Yes, he is one of the original members and still is that made the Neon Mob happen. And he was the one, how we even got into cannabis. I don't smoke or know anything about cannabis, but he does. And he goes, hey, we should create cannabis content. He's like, check out this stuff that I created. And I'm like learning so much along the way of like a flower, bud, or the different names for it. And Hardeen kind of came and fell in my lap based on a friend referral.
Yeah.
And
it's like one of the biggest
the ones
dispensaries
in town
Mhm.
and working with that team and having billboards around town that we were shooting. When I first moved to Vegas, that was actually like one of my goals is, there's some really interesting billboards here. Hopefully one day my photography could go into
Be showcased on there. Yeah.
showcased on a billboard and be a commercial photographer other than just entertainment. So that was kind of like day one when you like drive in, I'm like making this move. I'm going to have this billboard. It's cannabis.
Yeah.
And eventually hospitality.
What was Jordan just talking about? Visualizing and speaking it into manifesting. That's the word. Speaking it into existence.
Yes.
And how many billboards have you had now? Probably a lot.
About 20.
Great job.
Around town. And I think it was last year when I had about 10 active at the same time.
Oh, that's cool.
And it was with 4 different brands and having friends
tell you, hey,
just saw this off the 215, saw this on the 15, and taking a minute to be like, whoa.
Like pat yourself on the back.
Made it happen.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And again, it takes time. It didn't happen overnight. And it has networking, so important. Don't burn bridges.
Dude.
Yeah.
That's that'll probably be the title of this one. Don't burn bridges.
Yeah.
Vegas is like the biggest, smallest city ever.
Yeah. So it's tough not that I ever come across a situation where I would
Sean loves doing it.
burn bridges.
You burn bridges?
No, no.
He's like, I'm from Corona. I burn bridges.
That's literally our motto. No, just being like, because I always try to remain professional and think about that of like, don't ever burn a bridge, even if I feel like I am in the right and the other side of it is in the wrong. So recently there was a situation where I didn't want to be professional and I was like, fuck this client in my head. I didn't say that.
Yeah.
But part of me was like, I was so angry with the situation that had happened that I was like, oh, professional out the window, like fuck this client. But then I had to bring myself back and go, it doesn't matter. Don't let that other side affect you and always remain professional. Even if you don't I'm not going to go get coffee with that client or that person.
Sure. Yeah.
But don't badmouth them or don't ever say or do anything that would potentially burn a bridge, even though I feel like their situation is negative.
Was it creative differences?
I heard the story. He was just being a douchebag.
Yeah.
The client.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
He's just being an asshole.
Just
He's
shitty.
from out of town, just being an asshole.
Okay.
Yeah.
So was it?
I'm sure you can give a little detail. Oh,
You don't have
it's
to.
your
if you're-
thing.
if you're-
Yeah. So,
yeah. If you're
So
not comfortable.
I delivered the finished product. They loved it. And then, there was some things that were said after the fact that were not kosher.
And it was just like the way they said it.
The way it was went about, and it was just like a situation where it just made you go, okay. So like I said, part of me wanted to be like, fuck this situation, fuck this person. But then I was like, it doesn't matter. Always remain professional because that's not you. Like within me isn't to be a negative or like a nasty person. So just move on. You know what I mean? Like let it roll off the shoulder and just carry on.
Oh, okay.
So.
But you also told me that you were like in the situation. You're like, oh no, this is also one of my customers, and I want to make sure my customers get what they paid for. And you still were like looking out for him no matter what.
Yeah.
Even still, he was, even when he wasn't being cool.
So,
but I think it's a key point. You're like, this is still a paying customer, and I still want to make them happy despite what's happened.
despite what I personally or professionally feel, you still have to understand that that's a client. And then, don't let that situation roll over to anything else to, like you said, potentially burn a bridge
Absolutely.
in whatever shape or form that may transpire.
You're such a professional. Good job.
I just had a little bit of a situation like that. This client, I did some work for as a convention. I did some work for them a couple years ago. They hit me up last year. Like, hey, yo, can you come shoot our booth again? I was like, yeah, of course. I follow up the day before the event. I give him a price, give me the day. I was like, cool, see you then. Don't hear from him for like 2 or 3 weeks. He just touched base the day before. And he's like, oh no, like we booked somebody else. I'm like, what the fuck? Like these guys are so sloppy. I was like, that's weird. I was like, all right, whatever. So I just let it go. This year they hit me up again.
What'd you do?
A different person. I was like, oh, maybe, that person doesn't work there anymore. And they're like, oh yeah, do you want to like shoot the booth again? I was like, oh yeah, I would love to. Gave my rate, Followed up the next day. And they're like, oh no, we booked somebody else. And I had to keep it so professional, but I was like, oh man. I was like, oh man, that's a real bummer. I don't think I said that. I was like, oh man, I was like, this is the second year in a row that your company booked me and then had a miscommunication at the last minute. I was like, I hope you have a good thing. And then she got so defensive. I was like, I'm so sorry. I just had the wrong number in my phone. I'm like, hey, no hard feelings. Hope you guys have a great show. Maybe next year it will work out. Like, it's like a little annoyed, but like trying to keep it pro, you know?
Right.
Yeah. And that comes with the territory, especially with what we do, or working with someone that does not do the job, but tells you how to do your job. Those are always interesting as well. Kind of trying to stay professional,
right,
and be like, thank you. Yes, I'm working on that. Or what about requesting for the photos day of not being discussed or having the next day? You never mentioned that.
Right.
Yeah.
So as tough as it is, if you're listening, our advice is always remain professional, even though you don't want to.
I do want to touch back on the burning the bridges thing, because Vegas is so small. I'm sure we all have bumped into, people not caring to work with other people, and they'll say certain things, and you never want to be that person. You like, what did I say? Like when I introduced Gaby, if I was like, oh, I've been a fan of her work. Everyone says she's super cool. You want everybody to say that about you. Always.
Yeah. Only nice things to say.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah, no. Yeah.
But my takeaway, my thing is not to harp on this topic too long, but
I think this is a huge topic because people could lose their cool, and then it'll really affect them later on in their career.
Yeah.
Well, my thing is, if somebody has something negative to say about me, and that's whether that's me personally or work related, I want it to be, that's solely on them. Meaning you want to say something negative, you can, but I've done everything in my power that's positive or not. So if you have something bad to say, that's all on you, because I've done everything I can do.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's really depending on the person. Referrals is such a huge thing in this industry. And be like, hey, I noticed on your Instagram that you're also friends with my friend, or this person we want to hire, they follow you. Do you know anything about them? And it's having that one bad experience of be they weren't chill.
Yeah. Actually, funny story. Fuck that person. No.
So what you're gonna is it could go both ways. It could be good, and it could also be not so good.
Right? Because I've had where they go, they absolutely love you, and you're drinking buddies, and they're like, but they love your photography, right? And they go, she does a killer job, but I've only partied with her,
right?
And I mean, cool. I just got a new client, and that's great. It's being kind, and it's not superficial to be kind to people, even if I think people project a lot. Having a bad day, something's happening, and then it kind of leaks into work.
Right.
And you take it out on other people, or people you don't really know, even people maybe you bring it home.
Maybe even more so with the people or love.
Yeah. And they're just like, wow, that's really being taken out on me when I have absolutely nothing to do with it. So in your situation, great that you were calm. For my process is always damn, what happened right before you came to me? Whatever you're dealing with, or, that created this character that is in front of me, that sucks, because I've been so nice to you, and having the strength to continue to stay nice, even looking out for them, as Mike said, whatever the situation was, to complete the project, and then just, that's your piece.
Right.
Well, that's cool. You're giving them the benefit of the doubt, and you're almost trying to see it from their perspective. Oh, you know what?
I try to.
That's great. Well, it's every time somebody's an asshole when they're driving, I'm like, oh, he's having a horrible day. It has nothing to do with me. So same type of thing. Damn it. I was going to transition into something from that topic, and I forgot. So what camera system do you shoot on?
Canon. I'm a huge fan of Canon.
Same. Us three.
Which in the beginning, analog was Nikon.
Analog? Is that when you use film? Is that what that is?
Is that what old people call it?
Was
that when dinosaurs were around?
And my dad had I always mess up this name, Hasselblad, medium format.
You nailed it. I think, yeah.
Oh, so you come from a line of great photographers.
It's funny because my mom would be like, if she heard that, she's like, he's okay. No, it's great. I got really into it because my dad and me just being curious and looking over at him, like trying to take portraits of my mom, and they turned out beautiful. And me taking that hobby of his to the next level.
Yeah.
He's just like,
Is he just utterly proud of you?
Why did you get into this? And also he, even for him, was like, this is actually like a boy thing.
Back to what we were
I'm
talking
like,
about earlier.
Trigger.
Right.
It's a girl thing too.
You're like,
now.
dude, I skateboard.
You didn't have a problem when I
skater girl.
skateboarded.
Yeah.
But taking it, even my parents getting into this career, growing up in an Asian culture, wanting to be a lawyer, be a doctor, be a pharmacist. Surprisingly, my parents want me to be an anchor woman. That's like a brand new one on the list. I was like, anchor woman.
Where'd you get this one?
They're like, hey, my daughter's beautiful and she deserves to be on TV. So everybody can see her. That's good.
How about behind the camera versus in front of the camera?
I could be behind the camera.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And taking this to a whole new level where, I'm self-sustainable, be able to buy a home as a single professional woman on my own. That,
Is that did you buy a home recently or?
7 years ago now.
Oh, shit.
Congratulations.
When the market was good.
Cross that one off. Cross that one off the list.
Yeah.
I think forever did not think that I can be self-sufficient in creative, but I spent all my life trying to prove myself as much as proving people wrong. I think there's this message of like, it doesn't matter what everyone think about, it's how you think of your work. And it's, sure. But a lot of this power is this like anger from my instructors thinking that I'll never get it. I have this one instructor that I actually ran into in downtown LA. And he goes, if you continue to work like this, you're never going to get anywhere in life.
Continue to work like what?
Doing what I want.
He sounds like a bitter old man.
He makes it like I disrespected him or anything.
Yeah.
Pretty much what had happened was I had missed class because I went to go do a video interview with 50 Cent. And I decided to
shout out to Curtis.
That sounds way cooler.
He's so cool. And I was late to class. Has that been the first time? No, it's the second time because the first time I was with Diddy. So I was in the
They're all notable reasons why I'm a little bit late.
Name dropping over here.
Young,
Right.
and you're just like, this is my chance. Like I have to be there. But here's class education, making my parents proud.
Right.
And we're paying for college. So, but of course, me being the stubborn girl.
Do you ever get nervous for a photo shoot?
Yes, all the time. And my best friend, David Terry, he got me, actually, I'm wearing this bracelet right here because I always want to throw up before a shoot.
Oh, shit.
This is like one of those motion sickness bracelets.
Like,
No.
Okay, so here's the thing. Every time I shoot, no matter how confident I am, the day of, I always have nerves.
Feel
Even
sickies?
though everything's packed, I made myself a checklist. Assistants are there. Standby. I'm like, just kind of like, I hope everything goes as planned. No surprises, but there always is surprises. And being professional, you need to know how to pivot. I overpack sometimes because they're like, actually, we're thinking about this type of shoot instead of this one.
I just had my favorite quote. Sorry to cut you off, but
No worries.
on topics of packing, getting ready for shoots, 2 is 1 and 1 is none.
2 is 1 and 1 is
So you always
none.
need a backup to all your stuff. So if something breaks, you have nothing. But if you have a backup, then you still have 1. Does that make sense?
Right.
So I've been implementing that into my packing lists when I pack for shoots. And you just reminded me of that.
You could go
I like that.
overboard though with that.
All I know
continue your
is all
story,
the
I'm sorry.
equipment doesn't fit in the Prius anymore, so I literally
Yeah.
need an SUV at
Yeah.
this point. I was like trying to my V flats. I was like, it's bending.
Yeah.
So back to my best friend got me this for Christmas, and it's a bracelet, and it says, "You fucking got this."
Oh,
Nice.
sick. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I thought I was going to say, don't throw up.
Yeah. I thought
Hey, keep it together.
some sort of chemical imbalance or it makes her not throw up. No, it's just a saying. It's just a quote.
Yeah, it's just, you fucking got this. And I love that. And even for this, my New Year's resolution, work on my public speaking. I get asked a lot to be on panels just because I've been doing social media for so long and being creative.
And because you know what you're talking about.
Right.
I hope so.
Wealth of knowledge.
But I always say this, a professional extrovert, but an introvert.
I feel like it's a common thing with a lot of us.
We're good when we need to be, but when we don't need to be,
We're like,
I'm like, like, get away from me.
Me is, don't be awkward, don't be awkward, don't be awkward.
Dude. It's constantly like, don't be weird, don't be weird, don't overshare, don't be weird, don't be weird.
don't overthink.
Can I leave with anybody noticing me leaving?
No, college, I feel like I overcompensated. Going into art school, I went to the Art Institute, and I remember at orientation standing in line, "Hi, I'm Gabby." And later, my friend Derek and Justin, we were in the same class. They go, "Man, I remember orientation. You were just like super friendly." But like deep down, I'm like, I need friends. Right. I'm in a new spot. I don't have any of my high school friends in this school. Yeah, so I overcompensate.
Did you go there to school in LA?
In Orange County.
Okay.
Yes.
I was going to go to Art Institute for
Nice.
drawing, actually.
For drawing?
Yeah.
Drawing.
Such a great
I wanted to
program.
draw. No, I saw the $80,000 price tag, and then I was like, maybe I don't want to draw.
Yes.
And then I eventually found photography, so I guess it all worked out.
And the school closed down. So
Did it really?
Also, yeah.
Oh.
Something happened with whoever bought out some of the art institutes. Ended up being some sort of a scam. But
go
for
figure.
my experience, I love all of my instructors except for the one that said I wasn't going to go.
Except for the one that got pissed about 50 Cent.
Except for that guy.
That's funny.
And I'm still friends with them on Facebook. They check in all the time.
Oh,
and
that's cool.
definitely had a great experience at Art Institute and wanted to go to the one here as well, but I finished out in Orange County.
Yeah. I took 3 classes here at CSN for photography. I took a beginning, intermediate, and a lighting class. I didn't know I didn't need to take beginning because I took it in high school. And then I took intermediate and I was like, it's kind of like know this stuff already. Because I was already shooting for a while, like YouTube and everything. And I took a lighting class that I learned some stuff. And then I was like, then I just stopped. And I was paying for it out of pocket. So I was like, this is expensive. It was like $600 a class. And I was like 19. I was like, I can't afford this. So.
Do you feel, well, back then there weren't as many, you don't go to YouTube during that time.
Right.
I feel like back in 2005, 6, social media is just being born, YouTube, watching silly videos. So not being able to learn that and really do have to take a class.
For sure, yeah.
What do you like, since you did take those 3 classes, you were like, I actually feel like, I have this option of going onto YouTube to learn things now.
Yeah, so I think we just talked about it on our last podcast, but I have a degree from YouTube University. And I'm so grateful that I was able to like take the initiative and like learn. So I used to, when I was 16, I got a camera and I was really into astrophotography. I had like a little shitty tripod, a little shitty car. I'd go on YouTube, like, how do I do this? Watch a video, drive my car out to the desert, take photos, go home. They sucked. And I would just repeat that nonstop. And then I did that. I had the same concept, then I took a photo class in high school and then I would drag my girlfriend out to the park and like take pictures of her. And then I would keep doing that outside of the classes. I was like, oh, this is really cool. And then I just rinse and repeat with YouTube. And even to this day, like I have a shoot coming up in a couple of weeks and it's like a different concept. I'm like, oh, let me mix like these different, let's mix some hard light with natural hard light with artificial hard light. And I'm still on YouTube, like, just trying to like draw inspiration or just learn how other people do it to see if it's something that I could learn or get more efficient at.
Yeah, there's so many techniques out there.
Yeah.
There's not a specific one. Working with other photographers, even collaboration, I'm like, wow, that's really cool that you did it like that because I did it like this instead, but that's much easier. Something as simple as tethering.
Right.
Like, I've only been doing that for 3 years now, and now have my own kit versus being in the studio, working a full-time job. Game changer. But learning about that was from another photographer.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, Sean was just talking about working with me, and then he's like, "Oh yeah, this is awesome! Like I got to see how you do it." And like, "Oh shit!" And then he's like, "Yeah."
Yeah, I assisted Mike on a shoot. I think it was like last week, and yeah, it was cool because one, I had a little bit less responsibility, obviously, because I'm not shooting. I'm just assisting another photographer. But for me, I still took. I was still. How am I getting these thoughts out? I was still. It still got me excited because I was like, okay, I'm still going to learn something. I'm not just assisting something. I'm not just like moving lights or like helping somebody. Like I'm going to learn something, how they shoot or how they operate or what techniques they're doing. And so it was really cool.
Yeah. And assisting with other photographers also, especially if someone is a photographer versus someone who doesn't have experience. Sometimes I have friends just helping out and they're like, what holding a reflector
It's
very
almost
awkwardly.
like, right. Yeah. It's almost like, okay, so this is the first time I had an opportunity to hire an assistant where I felt that I genuinely needed the help. And then also the amount of money that I was being paid, I had enough to, pay for it out of my own pocket for that shoot.
Yeah.
And when I was thinking about who I wanted to hire, I had like 2 or 3 people, but they're also working professional photographers. So it's like hard for them hard to catch them on a day that they're not busy. And also the rate wasn't the greatest. So like, it's also like, I know you could probably make more money shooting because like I have a bunch of people who always offer to shoot or to assist for me. I'm like, I don't know if you know like what you're doing. Like if I say, hey, go set up that C-stand and then sandbag it, like they're going to sandbag it wrong and then I have to fix it. And it ends up just being more difficult than if I was just there alone,
I agree.
Tries to work.
I agree with you.
Yeah. Like the friend holding the reflector. You're like, can you just stand over there or something? It's like, I love you, but you just kind of in my way right this second.
Well, coming from LA, I didn't know anybody in town really other than the friends that I have made. So God bless all of them for coming out and awkwardly holding a
For
diffuser
sure. Yeah.
and a reflector and definitely shining light in the corner for me versus the subject. But teaching them, and then over time, they're like, oh, now I get like what.
Now I get what I'm doing.
what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And totally appreciate that. But growing that network of friends, even getting to meet you guys, I don't have a lot of creative friends that are out here. They're still all out in LA that I communicate with, people I go to school.
Well, I'm hoping
jobs.
you'll get some more from this podcast.
Hey, I have friends.
I mean, yeah, that's our idea. Just to nerd out with other fellow creatives.
Yes.
Yeah, I do. I am more spoiled. I was born and raised here. So like I'm pretty ingrained in, my age group of people. So I feel like I do know quite a lot of people. So I do forget, moving in from out of state, could be pretty daunting and scary. And it's pretty rad that you guys moved here and tried new things.
Yeah, I know a lot of people more than I initially thought I would know since I moved here. Sorry. So it's like kind of interesting to think about like, wow, I know a lot of people in a state that wasn't born. So it's weird.
Before even moving?
No, after.
Oh, okay.
So after, like when I first moved here for my wife, I just thought like, oh, I'll find work out there because I was an electrician at the time. So I'm like, oh, I'll find work. And then I had my wife and I had a couple of friends from before I moved. But then since then, everyone I know has been basically from photo, but it's been since I moved here. So
Right.
Yeah, like I have my like group of friends that like I went to high school with, who I hang out with, but then I have like my creative group of friends. It's different. And it's sad to say, but the older I get, the less I hang out with my other friends and the more I hang out with my creative friends. Just because of our goals are aligned always,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, over time.
Yeah. So you mentioned tethering. So I'm assuming you use Capture One.
I don't. I still
you're still on Lightroom?
I love Lightroom and I haven't moved over to Capture One. But yes,
nice.
That's a very common question that people always ask me if I use Capture One. I think I messaged you about it. How do you like it? And you transitioned to it. Maybe a couple years ago, I think because I saw it in your stories. Maybe you're like trying this out or something like that.
Yeah, I did it maybe like a year ago.
Yeah,
6 months to a year ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, the biggest thing was tethering. That was the whole reason why I
better.
switched. It's like flawless in comparison to Lightroom, but I haven't used Lightroom in a long time to tether, so it could be much better now. So I don't know. I used to always have issues with it.
What were the issues?
It would disconnect, or I couldn't get my camera to even be detected at all.
Yeah, it does do that.
The disconnection, is such a like any movement. You're like, God damn it.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. And then it was just like so stressful that I would never do it on shoots ever. But then I started doing more commercial work and more like still life and food photography. And you really need, because like there's a time and a place for people to like be over your shoulder. But like if you can like have the client look at the laptop and you could be like 6 feet away from them, it just makes shooting easier.
Absolutely.
And there's nothing worse than having just a gang of people like, oh yeah, let me
Trying to look at this like little screen.
go look on the computer and just tell me what you want different.
Yeah. I'm trying to find a new rig, especially with the iPad and shooting tether. And I know a lot of people do capture one on like, because I want my client to be able to see. Mm-hmm. I ran into a problem. I did a shoot for Uncommons. Definitely go check it out.
Yeah, we were looking at that before you got here. Yeah.
We went to Earth Cafe. So
love Earth. I did this shoot in the dead of summer, 2 days in mid-July. It was 118 degrees outside.
Lovely.
And I was shooting tether, having the laptop outside, and I've never had my camera go, it's too hot. And my laptop saying, it's too hot. Like, it's too hot to work.
Right.
Like, are you literally melting right now? I'm such a bad employer to the laptop. I'm sweating out here too, man.
Well, I want to ask, what is like, let's get into the nerdy stuff. Like, what is your go-to setup for when you're doing a commercial shoot and you're tethering? Do you have a cart? Do you have a, and what body are you shooting on?
Anywhere Canon R5, Canon R6, depending what it is. I still have my Canon Mark III.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
reliable. Sitting around if I don't have something available or it's not working because it's being fixed or being cleaned. Sensor cleaning, very important.
Very important.
And still an issue being an editor for other photographers. I'm like, your sensor.
I just started cleaning my sensor
I should clean it more.
3 or 4 years ago. Oh. I just started doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you look at old photos, I'm like, dude.
My Nikon was really bad. I'd see it all the time. I'm like, oh my God. But the Canon, I've been pretty good. Like, it's been good. But the Nikon, horrible sensor.
Well, it's funny because you'll shoot shows and it's dark. And then you shoot in the day, you're like, holy fuck.
Yeah, anything with sky, and you're like, oh, this thing is nasty.
Yeah, anything with sky. That's the one. The daytime ones.
It's going.
Yeah, red light.
Okay.
We're good.
So you shoot an R5, R6, and then you're tethering. And then do you have like one of those big fancy carts?
You have like a rolling, what are they called? What's the one you have? Rock and roll cart?
There's a rock and roll cart, but then there's an even more fancy cart.
I know. I've been looking at those carts, and I just have it's by Tether Tools as well, the laptop.
Oh, like laptop holder.
And then all the things, and I have my cable kind of hanging out, and then we're like rolling around. Oh, but that's why I want to have the kind of like the iPad rig. I think it's
you're doing like a junior stand on wheels with like the laptop.
They call it like a little boy roller.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Smart.
Which
that's great.
Is so much better than just using a tripod.
Totally.
For the laptop, because then you have to lift and constantly move. This one, it just moves along with me, and I'll have like a photo assistant kind of like look out where we're going and constantly moving with me. Mm-hmm. I had a shoot at Resorts World where it's numerous locations, and so it was nice to be like, hey, I'm just rolling around the mall, with whoever the model is or the chef that I'm working with. Before, when doing it was a Super Bowl campaign that I did for Caesars, doing, I don't know, it was 6 different properties.
Oh, wow.
Within that day, and moving around. So it's like, pack up, gotta go. But it was all walking. We weren't driving to location. We were walking to the next location.
Dude, how many steps did you get in that day?
I don't know if I was wearing my Fitbit at the time, but yeah, that's definitely something to think about when you have a challenging shoot that is multi-location in a day.
Mobility, efficiency, how to get around more efficient. I just recently started now my key light's always on a roller.
I know. I was just going to say that the other day. I noticed that his key light stand had wheels, and I was like, light bulb.
Yeah, I got that from Joe Janet.
Nice.
I remember when he started putting everything on wheels, and I was like, you don't really need wheels. And then now I'm like, fuck, you need wheels, dude.
Yes, yeah. I saw that. I like to watch the classes by Lindsay Adler. Mm-hmm. She does a lot of cool portrait fashion photography.
I was just watching a video last night about hard light.
And and I saw that it was on wheels. Immediately, B&H Photo, if you want to sponsor this podcast, please do. I bought the one on wheels and put my C-stand. I'm like, oh my God, everything on wheels is like a game changer. It's when you forget to lock it and it slowly drifts away.
Yeah.
Like, why is
my
this
laptop
different?
too.
I was going to say no, but the laptop I never thought about. That's even more ingenious because what I do is I just bring a folding table. Well, that's more if it's like a studio setup. I'll have a folding table next to the backdrop.
Right.
Like we did last week.
But yeah, she's saying multiple locations. Yeah, the rolling
Exactly.
laptop would be just freaking cherry on top.
They're going to get
really
more
is.
money from me.
Let's say,
Yeah.
guess we're.
I know, it's finding the best rig that works
I know.
best for what you need. I would love to always have a large monitor or screen with me so I can really see what's going on while I have like my art director on a laptop.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And be like, oh, check out like what we're shooting versus having to walk around.
Right.
There's so many things that you can do to
Yeah.
make the job easier. More money,
Yeah.
more problems. No.
Or more delicious hot pot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think in our case, in our line of work, I don't think it's more money, more problems. It's just more money, and then
More
More
things.
gear.
you need to buy more gear. You're like, well, I only have one stand that has wheels, and I got 6 stands total. I'm gonna need to upgrade the other 5. So
Yeah.
swipe
And
that
getting
card.
organized with all the C stands. Like I love seeing the ones, the holders. And
Oh,
then you
yeah.
like roll it in, and then you're like, I need a whole crew now because this stuff's great.
Yeah.
Even the NAND lights, that's something that I really like using. I know Godox also has the color.
Yeah, I have
lights,
those. The Godox
tubes,
tube lights. Yeah, those are
the
those are great.
tube ones. I have the NAND light ones, and they're so heavy. And then you buy equipment, and then there's new gear that comes out that they're like, now we have a hard case for it.
It's even newer and lighter and brighter.
versus
and
like the soft case that I
Yeah,
had, and
yeah.
I'm like, this was just a butt the go.
Yeah.
I know, right? This was a new release.
Yeah, and I made sure there were no other new releases coming. Like when you upgrade a new body, like how do you make that decision? You're like, there's so many new bodies coming out. What's the best for me?
Yeah,
I think you both just upgraded too.
he was Canon and then
Okay.
upgraded.
So I shot Nikon for 9 years. 2019, I switched to Nikon to Canon in 2019. Then I had the 1DX2, and then I got the I got the R3 in 2021.
Yeah.
December of 2021, like right after it came out, I got it.
Yeah.
And then I've had that for like about a year. No, end of 2021. Yeah, a year.
Yeah, because I got mine June.
Yeah, and then he was Nikon and Sony at the same time. And I was like,
Yeah,
dude,
you're
just go
right.
Canon. I just
Fucking
bullied him.
psycho.
I bullied him into going Canon.
Because I had
Really?
Nikon for photo because that's what I like grew up, or that's what I've been accustomed to using. So that was just my bread and butter. And then video, Nikon is trash for video, but I needed video for projects. So I was like, well, Sony's a good hybrid because originally I bought the Sony A7 II to shoot my wife's like blog and content creation. It was like something small, easy. And then that went away. And then I started just shooting that for video. And then I ended up just juggling Nikon for photo and Sony for video. And then I was like, this is fucking retarded. So
What for the lenses? Because now you're
just everything. So I
using
had
adapters
multiple
or-
lenses. No, I had, yeah.
He
So I
just
had,
had a gang. He just had a gang of shit on him all the time. So I'm like,
yeah.
dude.
Well, then I had, so I had 24 to 70 for Nikon when I'm shooting photos. And if I'm switching to video, I have a 24 to 70 Sony for Sony. And then I'm just like, this is not practical financially because it's 2 different systems. I can't even interchange them. But now I'm over on Team Canon.
In one body.
One body,
Well, you just
multiple.
got a
I got 2
second body.
bodies. Yeah. R3, R5. And yeah, now it's nice to switch lenses. I don't have to think about it of like, oh, this one doesn't work on this, but I'm like, what am I doing?
Mhm.
So yeah.
Team Canon.
Yeah.
Team
I actually
Canon.
just bought a hat from a photographer here.
A what?
It's a hat. It has the Nikon logo with the circle, the red circle with the line through it.
Oh, that's rude. What lights do you use?
I use a very dated light.
Okay.
As in, what do you mean?
It's-
One light?
As in, when COVID hit, they closed the company
Oh,
shit.
sick.
down.
Which brand?
So they're called Dynalights.
Yeah, I've heard of
And
them.
pretty much college is what we were using at the
Mhm.
time. And then afterwards, I bought a kit and I never upgraded. That's
Dang.
just
Well, if
kind
it
of
works,
like,
is it like
yeah.
on a power pack?
Yeah.
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 Nice.
And then, but there's so many cables, and I've been looking at upgrading with either Profoto, Broncolor. I've worked with Chimera. I think that's their name, Chimera. Yeah. I think they're more continuous video lighting, actually. But it's one of those things. They're going to have a new release. Like, is that better? Is that cooler? What's more powerful? And I have been pretty lazy about just, I don't know. It's not broke. And surprisingly, for how long it's been and it's worked and I'm still getting booked, I'm not a gear nerd when it comes to photography. I'm more of just creating and making sure the mood's there and it's available and it still works. But I think because I'm still thinking how I was in my younger days where you don't have money to go spend or like the means to be like, yes, it's like time to do this. But when it comes to like camera lenses, yes. But when it's the lights, I'm like, you're still great. Also knowing that you've collected all these diffusers over time.
For sure, yeah.
And bulbs and you're just like.
This is a Bowens mount and this is not.
Is Dynalight like a proprietary mount? Or is it like Bowens mount?
It is. Are you talking about
how the lighting modifier
attaches to
the
it's a speed ring.
Yeah.
Speed ring into
because if it's Bowens, I was gonna say you could use Godox. Like you can upgrade to Godox, and Godox is pretty inexpensive now because that's what I use.
Okay.
And I've been thinking, I was like, oh yeah, like I had a really good year last year. Maybe I should like upgrade to like. So my friend Joe uses Broncolors. I was like, maybe I should get like Broncolors or upgrade to Profoto. But I'm like, geez, these prices are insane.
Right.
So I was curious because you're another local commercial photographer. I was just curious what
there's like Westcott,
Westcott's newer for the lighting stuff. But.
I'm seeing a lot of people in the food photography industry using that brand. But at the end of the day, for me too, a brand is a brand of whatever you're paying for, and as long as you're getting the same results, and it depends what you need to control. Like. When it comes to the lights, because at the end of the day, they all typically work kind of the same. Right. And I talked to Dalton about this all the time because he had a gig and he goes, hey, I need to do rentals. Give me the lowdown on the best way to do this specific setup. Right. I'm like, well, it depends. Are other creatives going to be there? Do you need to kind of show off a little bit?
Flex a little bit?
Using something cool, or is it a client that has no idea? They don't give a shit. Then just go with this because you're going to save hundreds and that goes into your pocket.
Yeah.
I think we do struggle with that, especially. That's why I'm I'm really not a gear nerd. So if you're going to what are you using? I'm the bare basics.
Right.
That has still worked for me I like. And definitely I will get back to you when I figure it out.
Yeah. Let us know.
I just just asking around.
I'm in between. I'm so I have the Pulsey Buff Alien Bees.
Oh, I had those before.
But they're literally one of them is from my very first light beginner kit. And then the second one was the Gen 2. So it's not the Alien Bee. It's the
Einstein?
No, it's not. It is the Alien Bee, but sorry, it's the LED versus the actual old fluorescent bulb.
Oh, okay.
So they're technically two different lights. And then I use those for my strobes and I want to upgrade, but then I'm like, well, again, it's not broke, but they're fucking outdated. Yeah. And then recently I've been using these, these are the Godox Amaran.
No, these are Aperture Amarans.
Aperture. That's what I always think they're.
X.
Yeah. Okay. Amarans.
I am a gear nerd on the other hand.
So I toggle.
I love it. Dude.
So I toggle between shooting the strobes or shooting these.
That's another great question. You just mentioned to me the other day that you've been switching it up and using continuous lighting for some food photos, and you said you kind of enjoy it. How's that been going?
I enjoyed the continuous light for the food because, again, I didn't have to, each thing wasn't a surprise of okay, some little thing moved. And so I did seeing it. And then the client, I could show them in real time, this is how the scene is lit, so to speak. And they liked it because they wanted something a little more moody for the restaurant. So I liked it. And I didn't have to worry about the flash firing each time.
I agree with you with style. I was just doing a video reel. You may have seen the rack of lamb that I posted.
I did. I liked it.
I just got the Lume Cube. That's the brand. Lume Cube studio lighting. Absolutely love it for continuous for video, but also to mimic kind of maybe daylight for when it comes to food photography, more dim restaurants, working in casinos. It can be very dark.
Right.
Or getting that white balance correct because it's always that weird yellow that we're trying to pull out and post.
Right.
And I think that really helps balance.
Very nice.
Continuous lighting is
For sure.
It has its place because
Yeah,
in
it
other
does.
times it's just not enough. It's not enough punch for certain things. Where it's like it's lighting the scene, it's lighting what I need, but it just doesn't have the oomph I'm looking for. So
Yeah, the overpowering the ambient light with strobes is like
yeah, there's a time and a place for both.
Yeah, I've never shot with continuous light, but
wow, ever.
yeah, I mean, like I've piggybacked off video lights. Like they're like, oh yeah, can you just get like a couple like snaps or candles? Like they're doing a video shoot. Can you like maybe grab a couple quick portraits of the model that's about to be interviewed?
Yeah.
Like I've piggybacked off of other people's setups, but I've never like
As a choice.
yeah.
That's
yeah.
actually where I started. Was I was on a shoot and we had video and we were using the continuous strips and I was like, it's just like a little light bulb and I was like, so I don't have to charge batteries each time it recycles. I was like, maybe I could I don't photographers use this. Like, why am I not seeing this?
Yeah.
So
I agree. I started with continuous lighting
Okay.
before getting into strobes as well. Must be a California thing, so you wouldn't
Must be.
understand.
Well, I think it's because I took that
class.
lighting class. Yeah. Yeah.
it's California.
It's a California
wouldn't
photography.
Look where you guys are at now, though.
if you have to ask, you can't
Yeah,
afford
you
it.
guys are over here with no income or no state tax.
Yeah.
Partying.
Thank you.
Yeah. You see how it's not on fire right now outside?
Yeah. I wanted to ask Gabby, what would be a dream client of yours or a dream situation?
A dream situation.
Could be a dream situation. Doesn't have to be necessarily a dream
A
client.
bank full of money. Bank account full of money.
Are you photographing money and then you get to keep the money?
And then you swim
Yeah,
in
you
gold
said-
coins.
You said dream situation, like just all the money in the world and no worries at all.
I think there's something. I've done many different type of photography, but one specific gig working with Getty Images and as an editor that I've seen for these award shows are the portrait photographers that get hired. You figure out a concept, whether it's for Grammys or Oscars, and there's a room
I know what you're talking about.
where the
So
celebrities
fucking
go.
sick.
And the space that they use, sometimes it's grand and then sometimes it's very tiny. But it's fun to see actors and artists kind of having fun with that photographer's concept.
Have you seen this, Sean?
Seen that?
No, explain. So it's not a red carpet shoot?
It's not.
They're on the red carpet, but then they'll hire like a really, really good portrait photographer, and then they'll have a whole portrait session, off in another room, right?
Yeah, it's off in another room. And it's usually sometimes for the winners or just any celebrity that wants to walk in and have a nice portrait taken of them.
Okay.
Or agreed maybe by their PR or management team that this is going to go on a website, or sometimes the portrait photographer is hired by a certain publication. So what's
Oh,
like
okay.
Variety.
Right.
They're like, these are Variety celebrity portraits. And figuring out that concept and having fun and seeing celebrities have fun with it, because they're even like models, right? When you work with professional models, they know how to look, how to have fun. They're not nervous.
Right.
I definitely work
Shouts out
between
to Shylon.
Who?
This guy we worked with last
Oh,
week.
yeah.
We were
yeah.
shooting. I was like, dude, this dude's on it.
Yeah. Just they know what they're doing. They're moving around, or celebrities having fun with it. It always takes it to a whole new level.
Yeah.
So one of the photographers that I really look up to is David LaChapelle. And I also
familiar.
work with a lot of performers on the Strip here in Vegas. And we collaborate a lot on really fun shoots, whether it's like smokes, gels, or glitter, or painting your full body, whatever these concept is having fun. But
Right.
even at a larger scale, or even just a beautiful portrait, whatever the
Yeah.
idea may be, that's kind of a goal of mine. So we'll see
That's
where
awesome.
that goes. Yeah.
So it's like the red carpet is just the clean couple seconds, move on. But this portrait
Right.
session is a little bit more in depth and a little bit more one-on-one with each particular artist.
Correct. Yes.
I like that.
Yeah. And that's kind of why when it came to music festivals and me moving away from being in the pit and the violence of elbowing my lenses and
Yeah, right.
traumatizing me as a photographer is I wanted to transition more into that one-on-one time. And it doesn't have to be a celebrity, but it's just with my model.
Right.
With that
Yeah,
person.
it's building that connection and then you trusting them and them trusting you to come to a common,
More controlled
goal.
environment
Yeah.
versus shooting a show. You really don't have any control other than your own technical settings.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, we were actually talking about that a few episodes ago, like how shooting commercial stuff's fun and you can control every little aspect of it. But there also is something beautiful about just going and shooting a show and not having to talk to anybody, putting in earplugs, doing your thing, shooting, and then like leaving.
Yeah.
It's like cool, but
it's two very different type of jobs.
Yeah.
And
Right.
that's what makes our work pretty exciting.
Mm-hmm.
When people go, what's your day to day like? Well, today it's a portrait session. Tomorrow it's going to be at a restaurant. My model is going to be food or a cocktail shoot. It's different every time and it's fun.
Yeah, or
Keeps you on your
it's
toes.
sitting in my underwear and editing all day
Right.
There is that part.
while my dog throws the ball in my lap every 4 seconds.
Right.
Oh.
But I love that they're because I don't want to say I struggle, but for a while there before like doing the podcast with Mike and talking to other people, I always thought, oh, I should niche down because everyone around me has like one lane. They're sports and sports only, or their wedding, so on and so forth. So it's nice that there is a whole world out there that people do. Monday you're shooting food. Tuesday you're doing a high fashion dance shoot. Wednesday you're doing something else. So it's nice to be like, oh, I'm not the only one that doesn't have one lane specifically. Like each day is kind of different and fluid.
Yeah. Do you want to niche down or you're just saying that you want to do that specifically? Like I don't do too much events or live sports events, weddings. I love your elopement photography. It's beautiful, incredible, and capture this love. And I'm like, people ask me, I go, look, it's not my forte. That's really it.
Right.
I can't see I don't want to say I can't see the beauty of your love between the two of you, but I just see it differently. Yeah. And sometimes they do want that. They're like, no, we want it like kind of how you do your commercial shoots, but with like us as the subjects.
Right.
I go, okay, well, here's a concept that we can go with. Then that's fine.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely in that regard, like it's definitely something that I didn't really go after. It kind of just fell into my lap, if that makes sense. Like I definitely, like if you were to talk to me like 3 years ago, I'd be like, oh, I don't do weddings either. That's not my like thing. I don't want nothing to do with it. But I've found like a little lane where I could kind of satiate like all worlds. Like I'm not shooting someone's super high end wedding where there's crazy stress, but it is important enough to where like things are like, it is an important moment.
Yeah.
I definitely didn't plan that where I am now.
Sometimes it falls in your lap and then you're really good at it.
Yeah. But I also, to answer your question, I definitely don't, I personally never, or professionally never want to be niche down because I'm always scared of getting pigeonholed into one thing. And
Just had this conversation on the way here.
And if that one thing doesn't work out for whatever reason, whether it's myself or like a COVID or some situation, and then I only have that one thing, then how do I pivot? Okay. So I've always constantly pivoted. So there's good and bad because on one hand you're like, well, what's your thing? What's your forte? And I'm like, well, I don't really have a forte. So it's like,
yeah, I don't think you necessarily need to have a niche.
Me and myself, I don't, and I don't think either. Like, because all three of us can shoot so many different things that like it works out.
Well, and I think that is like the thing. Like, what's your niche is like being a good photographer and being a professional photographer and being on time and, treating clients right. I think that's our niche. Like, and honestly too, how you live financially stable is be good at a lot of different niches of photography. Is be well-rounded.
Yeah.
Be well-rounded, but then also certain things this comes with like being comfortable with yourself to then know where my strengths are and my weaknesses. Like if somebody comes to me for like a clean headshot, I'm probably not going to do it. Like I'll be like, go hit up Gabby, go hit up Mike. Like, can I do it? Sure. But there's certain things where like, go check out their work. And they're going to be like, yep.
Well, there's two reasons for that. Maybe you're more financially stable now to where you don't have to necessarily say yes. And then you can give it out.
Right.
And refer it because you want them to get the best product. But maybe 2 years ago, if someone said, hey, I need a clean headshot, you're going to be like, oh yeah, I got you. and you're
Yes,
gonna do
and
your
that's
best
how
to
it
do
starts.
Exactly.
It really, you
Yeah.
do everything, and then you kind of hone in.
Exactly.
I didn't start saying, oh yeah, I do a lot more editorial food commercial work versus all this other stuff. I was doing event photography, live photography, festivals,
Yeah.
working those crazy hours because I do want to be good at everything. But then I also found like joy in eating the food after I shoot it too. And I'm like, let's lean in.
Yeah.
on this.
Let's double down. On
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just find that along the way.
Right.
Yeah. I think I'm still working towards that. I still do a lot of everything, but I also love doing a lot of everything because every day is fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. I think it's just being in that comfortable place where like I'm okay shooting my 3 main categories and like I'm okay with that.
Yeah. In one of my college classes, my instructor, Benny Palomore, I still talk to
Damn,
him.
you remember his, I was gonna say,
we're
I thought you just remembered his
No,
name.
we're still friends. I talked to him on the phone like 2 weeks ago. He's a great guy. Me, him, and Steven, we met. We took the same college class. Steven's another local photographer. He's going to be on the podcast in a couple weeks.
Yeah.
But I digress. He was like at the end of the class, at the end of the semester, he's like, oh, like, where are you going to go? And like what he meant was like, what facet of photography are you going to go into? And then people were like, pet photography, kids. And he's like, you're going to be broke. You're going to be broke. You're going to be broke.
Damn.
And then I was like 19, just like kind of like I knew
It's
I was like,
embedded in your head?
Well, no, I knew I was like the best photographer in that class. And I was like, kind of being a smart ass. And he's like, where are you going to go, Mike? And I was like, I'm going to the top. And he's like, I think you're the,
Yes!
and he's like, I think you're the only one who's going to make a career out of this. And then now we're still friends. And like, fortunately I'm still able to make a career out of it, but yeah. So shouts out to Benny. Yeah.
Nothing wrong with baby photographers and pet photographers.
Well, it was like, yeah, it was just funny. But yeah, that's why, like, I mean, like, well-rounded is like, it's good.
Right.
Don't feel like you have to like box yourself in.
Yeah.
And so I feel like.
I do want to get more into pet portraits and how to like.
Are you saying that just because he said that?
Well, I mean, are you going to move your entire career to pet photography though?
Not my whole entire career, but definitely.
Yeah, well, yeah.
You know, but there's people out there that have a.
For sure. Yeah.
I used to work with rover.com to work on, it's pretty much taking pictures of your potential sitter, your pet sitter, and then with other dogs with them. And working with dogs is freaking hilarious. Always have a squeaky toy, always have a treat, and kind of I always thought the teeth thing is cute, but apparently for the brand, they're like, that actually looks aggressive.
When a dog shows
When
its
they're
teeth.
like,
Yeah.
I'm like, this is adorable.
The best pet portraits were they did the underwater photography. The dog is
Oh,
jumping into
yeah.
the pool to get the tennis
Oh,
ball.
I love those.
It's pretty old. It's like maybe like 10 or 15 years
yeah.
old, but it's so sick.
Is it who took those? Was it
I have no idea.
there was a photographer I used to like look up to a lot. Yeah, that's like 15 years ago. I want to say his name was like Dave Hill, and he did photos like that where like when he did show his behind the scenes, he had like a freaking 10 light setup.
Oh, I'm sure.
And they were crazy. Like he took like high profile clients. Like he's taking photos of like Derek Jeter and Brad Pitt, and you saw the photos and you're like, this can't be a photo. This has to be like a rendition, right? No. So I don't know where I was going with that. Crazy light setup.
And underwater photography is something I'm really interested in checking out and
That'd be
trying,
cool.
but it's that whole idea of even though there's a casing for it, you're
Right? You're like,
Well,
how do I test this
it's a
out?
great idea until you look for an underwater housing for an R3 and it's like 10 grand and then the camera's only like 6 grand. And you're
Right.
like, what the fuck?
Well, do you want your camera to get wet or not?
Yeah, like last time I looked, I think it's when I was shooting Nikon and like I had like a D850 or something. And like the housing was more expensive than the body. And I was like, no. I was like, yeah. But
yeah, I've rented it.
oh, smart. Yeah. See,
Oh,
smart.
I love renting. Yeah.
Yeah. Very, very smart. Do you see yourself living in Las Vegas for the rest of your life or for the foreseeable future?
Yes, I love this city. It's so much fun. It has this small town vibe, but big city at the same time, but not LA or New York.
Mm,
Not as, yeah.
not yet. Yeah.
Not as,
Not yet, but it's really growing since back in 2009, coming out here where I actually got lost from, I think it was Google Maps or just Maps or something.
MapQuest.
And I was doing donuts in the dark in someone's backyard in the Southwest area, which now is like a full on neighborhood off
Right.
250 Durango.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I love being able to, not that you can't do this in other cities, but the way that people connect here in Vegas, and whether it's like referrals, working in whatever industry, we all have this like, oh, we all live in Vegas.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't want to get out of here. We said we were
Right.
after 2 years, but here we are.
Yeah, that's true. I'm only going to be here for a summer. And then you're like,
Yeah.
oh, that was 10 years ago, my friend.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
And you make a life, and some people, never thought that they would get to where they are. And that's the same as me. I went back to California a couple times and realized I've made Vegas a home.
Yeah.
And as much as I travel or even international, when I come home to Vegas, it feels good.
Right.
Versus going back home to visit my friends and family in California. I'm like, this isn't me anymore.
Yeah.
I'm a different person.
I feel the same way. Like, going back through like Corona, where I grew up, or just anywhere in Southern California that I'm familiar with. Yeah. It also feels foreign. Like, whoa, this was like a different part of me.
Yeah.
Like it's like I said, foreign. It's just like, not me anymore.
Do you ever meet with maybe some of your friends there and you're like, oh, you're still kind of doing this in Corona?
For the most part,
Nothing
yeah.
wrong with that,
No,
but do you
yeah,
ever
yeah.
feel like you're like, oh, okay. I think it's one of the best things about moving out sometimes too. But if you love where you live, that's totally incredible. Like,
Yeah, I mean, for the
Amazing.
most part, like only a handful of friends from like our high school group, like the boys, moved away. Like I moved here to Vegas, another buddy moved to Arizona, and then another buddy moved up to like Washington. But the other, 15 or so friends still live in some sort of, area of Southern California. Like not
Okay.
Corona specifically, but like, other suburbs and whatnot. But I haven't necessarily gone back in that sense and like seen them in that environment that you're saying, but
Okay.
they've come out here. I've seen a few on occasion.
oh yeah, I see people way more out here than going back home making
Yeah.
time for them because they like to visit.
Right.
Yeah. And nothing wrong with Las Vegas natives living here because for the longest time I was like, dang, I wish I was a rebel.
I know you never want to. Yeah.
I mean, I wasn't a rebel either.
I
but
always-
I was like,
I always hate when I say, cause they're like, oh, where'd you grow up? And I'm like, don't ask me that, dude. I'm like, oh, I'm from California. Like, oh, me too. I'm like, yeah, no shit.
yeah.
Yeah. I could tell.
Aren't we all? But now soon I'll get to the point where like, cause I'm at like 8 years. Once I hit the 10-year mark, like I'm full Vegas. Like I'm not saying I grew up elsewhere. Like I feel like 10 years I've earned the right to stop saying I was born somewhere else.
Nah.
I don't know why I feel like the same way, especially when I love it when someone's like, oh,
Not after you
she's
guys
a
have been
local.
talking shit.
Not after.
You guys could not claim here.
Yeah, like being a local and feel they're like, oh, she's taking Frank
but-
Sinatra. She's a local.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Your dad's Frank, right? Yep. Yep. I grew up with him.
I love all Vegas natives. All my friends out here, even
Yeah,
though
we're
half of
awesome.
them want to escape here.
We had
What'd you
our
have?
previous guest was on. Him and his wife are both born and raised here. I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have any local restaurants that are go-to for you? Anything like a local staple that you love outside of Hot Pot? Anything else since we already talked about Hot Pot, anything else you want to
I
like?
just always go to Hot Pot.
That's all you ever eat.
And here's the thing. If you go ahead right now, go on Instagram, visit anyone that you see I hang out with a lot, is when you go, what do you want to eat? I go,
Hot Pot.
You
I
already
just
know.
smile.
They don't
I
even,
just smile.
they don't
It's
even
like,
ask
why
you
are
anymore.
asking me? Which is weird because I used to be a huge just tacos person.
Tacos are a
Interesting.
safe bet.
Yeah, I'm always like, yeah.
What's your favorite taco spot here?
Taco stand?
Or anywhere that sells tacos in Las Vegas. What's your?
Or is it
it's
called Taco
Taco
Stand?
Stand.
I was like, I think
I've
it's
never
called
heard of
Taco
Taco Stand. Where's
Yeah.
that?
It's on Spring Mountain and Valley View. Where
Oh, that's
there's that-
Chinatown.
That's about KO Tires taco truck
It's where the
next to Plate
apartment.
Again Sam's.
Is it Lotus Apartments there?
No?
Yeah, the Lotus one.
Oh, so it's a little more south or a little more east.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like over by.
It's right near Feature.
No, what's the Sand Dollar? It's closer to Sand Dollar.
It's diagonally from
Okay.
there.
I've never been there.
But other restaurants, speaking of Sand Dollar, next door, this is such a gem spot. Tres I'm gonna butcher.
I've walked by it.
Consuelas.
I've walked by it hammered coming out of Sand Dollar, but I know what you're talking about.
The
Oh,
food there
yes.
is bomb.
Wow,
It's like
that
tapas.
Yeah.
Spanish tapas.
Because I always walk out.
Instead of walking out
I always walk out
hammered.
hammered. I'm like, that place looks good, but they're closed.
Right. Oh, that
Never been to Sand Dollar
Yeah.
during the day.
Right. I don't go during normal
What am I,
hours.
scumbag?
Yeah. Wow. That was funny that you said that and it like clicked. It took a second. I'm like, oh, I know that spot. Never been there either.
Yep, next door. Highly recommend it.
Okay.
Super good.
Cool.
Group outing.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
I'd love to. Yeah.
The tap is really incredible. And the owner, he's always coming out and just like checking in because it's a smaller spot.
Yeah.
And now they have like an outdoor area you can hang out. They probably have space heaters now
Okay.
too.
Yeah, I do remember walking by tables out there, I think.
Yeah. I remember seeing like a little.
Stumbling by tables or something.
Yeah.
You wouldn't think it, but wow, it's incredible. What are your spots? I want to know.
Ooh.
Or just one. Yeah.
Well, what have I been eating a lot recently? So my go-to is always, like if I want to like indulge a bit in some alcoholic beverages and good food is my like favorites, herbs and rye. But I've been eating a lot of parsley, and then I don't know how to say it. Is Meraki. It's like another Mediterranean spot
Meraki.
next to my house. Love that place.
Do we live like diagonally from each other?
Yeah, so I live
He lives on,
I live next to Durango High School. There's one on Trop in Rainbow.
He ain't giving out cross streets on the.
Oh yeah.
No, yeah. So I live on Hospital. Yeah. I live next to IKEA almost, kind of over there,
Bleep,
Southwest.
bleep.
Yeah.
Bleep, bleep, bleep,
What's your address?
Yeah.
Yeah. I've been eating that. Pier 215 is really good.
That's a good spot.
Sushi.
That's
Other
really good
Mama is
sushi
a really
spot.
good sushi spot over there.
I haven't been out in a while.
I've been eating a lot at home though.
Yeah.
I'm trying
I
to
was gonna say.
tighten it up.
Yvonne and I have been cooking HelloFresh for like the last 2 months, I want to say at this point. We're back on it. So I haven't been out in a while, but no, I lied. We went to Thai. Oh, where were we? Oh, it was like freaking, it's been here forever. It was on,
Lotus of Siam.
no, I've never been there.
Okay.
It was on, I think it was Lotus something though, but it wasn't Lotus of Siam. It was on Fort Apache and like Trop.
It's right next to my house. I've never gotten tired.
More on Fort Apache and Flamingo.
It's a little more north.
Yeah.
Basil and lime.
Yes. Actually, it was. It was Basil Line. There you go.
I postmated.
I said Lotus. I said it wasn't
Nice.
Lotus. Basil. Yeah. What was it called? Basil and Lime?
I think it's basil.
Yeah. No,
and
that
lime.
rings a bell because I remember the
There's
logo.
there's a Jamaican spot right there. I can't think.
That
of the
spot
name.
was really good though.
I've heard
Basil
it's
and lime.
amazing.
But that's all I got on the top of the brain because, like I said, we haven't been out in a while.
Yeah, I've been trying to get rid of this dad bod.
I've been trying to lose weight, but my boyfriend is a chef.
Oh,
and
nice.
A lot of
What
people
restaurant so we can blow up his spot?
Yeah.
He's over at the Palms.
Nice.
He's a
Oh,
chef
nice.
tournant, and so he kind of switches over
Oh, cool.
all the restaurants. And he's been cooking at home. And me, who don't really cook, I've always my Postmates is pretty freaking crazy. When, especially in an editing session, you're like, if I'm gonna lose this vibe right now, I just need to order and the food come here.
It's I do outweigh like, okay, like am I gonna waste an hour or am I just gonna spend $30 and Postmate it? It's like efficiency thing, It's like,
Yeah.
I'm just gonna Postmate
But even
it.
the cost of it is like more now. But yeah, I used to go out a lot, and then he's been cooking at home where it's like better than the restaurants.
Oh, fuck
And
yeah.
Sure.
I do love when we go out and he like picks it apart.
Critiques it,
Yes.
yeah.
Well, this is trash.
yeah.
Yeah, you're
Like
like,
cooked this way. This could have
Yeah.
been better if this ingredient
you're
was
like, yeah,
added.
these
I'm like,
these food photos are trash too.
Yeah, one of my clients is he's a chef. They have a catering company, and we were talking about a restaurant recently, and I was like, "You're probably not fun to eat with because you're a chef yourself." And he's like, "No, I love that spot," because I was doing food photos for one. I was like, "Have you actually ate here?" He's like, "Yeah, it's one of our like go-to spots." I was like, "Okay, cool." I was like, "Because I feel like it could be hit or miss. Like you could be a nightmare to go out to eat with, or you could be like, I'm just a normal person and I'm eating."
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he does enjoy the food, but we're usually on the same page when something could be better.
Right.
So it doesn't make it like a bad experience where I'm like, God damn it, just shut up.
Shut the fuck up and eat it. It's good to me. It was good to me until you ruined it.
I would be devastated if I took him to a spot that I absolutely love.
And he just
shits
trashes
on
it.
it.
Yeah, just see like, what is it? He has it, and maybe that's like, he knows not to.
Yeah, he's like, you know what? I'm not
'Cause
going to
I'm
ruin
just
this for you.
like-
Yeah.
Super stoked.
If you already hype it up, he's like, I can't crush her
I can't
dreams.
kill her. But I'm learning also a lot about like tricks in the kitchen, how to do things better, or certain flavors that
Right.
learning. As much as I love steaks, I didn't know the difference of how awesome a dry aged steak is.
Yeah.
And that's like his specialty and stuff like that. And so it made me focus more on the quality. I know the difference between a prime Wagyu and Kobe, right? Marbleization,
Yeah.
how it tastes. You're going to be like, oh, wow, my heart is like, oh, wow,
Right.
this is so fucking good.
Yeah.
But that's what I like about going out with him too, because he's like, oh, wow, they have this. You don't usually see this at a restaurant. I'm like, order it.
Get
awesome.
2 of them.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Dating a chef would be cool. Yeah. That's
Yes.
cool. I'm
Highly
fortunate.
recommend.
My girlfriend's a great cook.
There you go.
So I'm very fortunate. Yeah. I'm a pretty decent cook too.
I get down in the kitchen.
I just don't have to try as much with her around. I
can
bring home
microwave.
I bring home the bacon and
Since we're
There
all
you go.
adults here, we recently got a new knife, and I'm very excited about it.
Ooh.
knives are
It's not like a name
What kind
brand
of
ring.
knife?
It's not a
okay.
name brand, but
Yeah.
I don't know. It just excited me that we got like a nice, super sharp knife.
don't put it in the dishwasher.
No, but we did get a new pan. It's a nonstick. It's called Our Place.
Our place.
They're kind of expensive.
Oh no, it's gonna start sending the ads.
Oh, it is, dude. Our Place. Our Place.
That was hardcore for
Dude.
years. And like, I'm like, ooh, because it also steams. Like
Yeah,
it has these
it's a-
add-ons, right?
Yeah, it's crazy. It's pricey for like in the realm of pans, but it's insane. Literally nothing has stuck to it, and we've cooked every single day for the last 2 months.
That's awesome.
And like even when it's burning, and I'm like, oh, this is gonna be the one. Nope.
That's awesome.
I'm trying to remember why he likes cooking with stainless steel
That's like a
ones.
rural chef thing. The stainless
okay.
steel.
Yeah, I'm
because
just a
you don't
consumer. I'm
Hey, I'm just a consumer.
because
I'm just a guy, you know.
there's stainless, there's Teflon, there's ceramic,
Okay, yeah.
and then there's cast iron. If I'm not mistaken, those are
Yes,
cast
that's
iron.
4.
I'm not too sure,
Awesome.
but that sounds pretty
Yeah,
accurate.
yeah, yeah. So, is it Teflon or is it
I think it's ceramic.
ceramic? Because ceramic's supposed to be non-toxic, but it's not as good as Teflon. But then stainless steel, you have to have the heat properly on it, or it'll stick.
You know something about it?
Yeah, I told you I cook.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Crystal
more than
and
I
we
know.
cook all the time.
Yeah, I'm like, what? Okay.
Yeah. If you want to sear meat, you sear it in stainless or cast iron.
Yeah, we cook Hello Fresh, so.
Which is fun. I like that.
Oh, it's
yeah.
super
That's
fun,
the
but yeah,
best
it's definitely
introduction.
It's
it's
like, what?
not.
Step 1, 2, 3, 4.
It's
What's 6 steps?
It's not
And you're
technical
like,
at all. It's like, oh, I gotta
yeah.
make my own mayonnaise, buffalo dressing. Okay.
Yeah, I didn't know how easy a Caesar dressing is. And also I was like, I didn't even know this was in it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just open the bottle and there you go. It's easy. Dressing.
Squirt it on there.
Sick. Well, I think that about wraps her up. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was wonderful.
Thanks for coming on, Gabby.
Thank you for having me. And I hope, I don't know.
I hope we cross paths
And
sooner than later.
Yeah, where can people find
absolutely.
you? Where could they check out?
Your local hotspot place. No, that's what I do even when I travel. I'm like, what's close to hotspot? The hot pot place. So
What's the
yeah,
closest
that's where you're gonna
hotspot
find
place?
the hotspot.
So if you're looking for Gabby, she's gonna be at your
Where's the
local
hottest hot spot?
hot pot spot?
Tongue twister.
I mean, locally, I think everyone really likes nabe because it's all you can eat, and also sushi, all you can eat.
You can't.
Nah, we're done with sushi,
beat
all you can eat.
That.
You can't what?
I'm saying you can't beat that. You get
Oh yeah.
hot pot and sushi. It's like,
Nah, we've moved on from all you can eat sushi.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Because of quality.
Yeah. Once
Okay.
we had like
Yeah.
actual, I can't think of the name. It's been a while, but once we've had actual good sushi, we're like, all you can eat is fucking trash.
Naked fish.
Yeah.
I like that.
Necco's really good too for all you can eat.
We've had some really good spots, but I can't go back.
I
Can't
do.
I know,
I
there's
do
a
agree. The spots that don't do all you can eat is a little higher quality, but
And also overindulge because I'm like, it's all one price, load it up. And I'm like, I don't need to be eating this much.
I do the salmon just and the yellowtail.
yeah.
Oh
Like,
no,
what
not me.
just
I'm
happened?
a whore for rolls and baked and
Oh yeah.
I wasn't doing it right.
All right. That's all.
But no,
good.
where could people find your work? Not
Oh.
you physically at the hot pot.
Yeah,
Yeah. Actually, give them your address so they can find you physically.
physically at this address.
She lives above. She lives in the second floor of a hot pot.
Well, you can find me at all social media platforms at Gaby Duong, and that's 1B. Not two.
Was I giving you 2Bs?
No, a lot of people.
Some people
just
still
Oh,
do.
she looked at
which
me
is
like I fucked it up.
No,
No,
which
yeah.
is totally fine. Or GabyDuong.com for my photos, or agency with all my friends and all the work that we've done at theneonmob.com.